Oh my gosh. Guys, it worked. I got it to work. Oh my gosh. Not yes, and the dogs have not forgotten that you come back from vacation and they remember right away. Okay, you turn on the ring light. And we're here. And I got my oh my gosh, I you guys know I do the slideshow to give you guys some pictures and stuff. It just works better for me. For the first time ever, I literally tried like 5 times to put the slideshow, attach it to everything here, and it was not working. And but I rebooted StreamYard and we're good. So I am in here. Hopefully everyone can see me. I am back. I am back. What a we actually let me take one of these out of my ear so I don't hear that weird. I hate that echoey sound when you have two earbuds in and you're talking. It's weird. So anyhow, we've got a bunch of people in chat, and I'm like, I was like, they'll all have forgotten me. Everyone's gonna forget. Oh, and never fails. Oh, what a trip though. I am. I'll be honest, gang. I'm gonna say hi in just a second. I was so pissed off once we got to the North Atlantic and I couldn't upload anymore. Uploads became impossible. At first, I thought, oh, it's just one day. No, it became 2 days. Then it became three. And I was getting, oh my God. I even went down. Yeah, it was crazy. So, but let's say hi to people. We've got our dear, dear Chris was first in chat. How you doing, Chris? I do have coffee. I'm living on coffee right now. Jet lag is real. Jet lag is real, especially when you're dealing with like a 10-hour time difference. Yeah, it's real. And but I am here and I think we got some good. Gosh, guys, I go away for 3 weeks and I mean all of these updates. I was trying to stay on it as much as possible, but there were so many updates happening. And thank you to those of you who are texting me. There were a bunch of you who were trying to send me messages as much as possible to let me know what was going on. So really, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So skits. How you doing, my dear? Welcome, welcome. It is QRPB. Okay, I was trying to figure out, okay, who is this? Who is this? Okay, so okay, QRPB is Skits, also known as Skittles. Sorry, my brother is addicted to Skittles, I discovered over the last few weeks. When I came down, mom and I came down with COVID, his solution to the whole thing, because we were on Paxlovid, which, guys, no one ever told me Paxlovid has the worst taste in the world. I mean, your mouth just had, oh gosh, it was horrible. It was horrible. And his solution to everything was just keep popping Skittles. Just eat Skittles. Crazy. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So hello, hello, QRPB. How you doing, my dear? And who else we got? We got in the bushes here. How you doing, my dear? And Seal and BC. And by the way, Seal just sent me some updates actually on one of the people we're going to talk about today. We've got a fundraiser connected with them. So we'll be getting to that at the end. And I thank you for that. Yes, Loco will be here sooner or later. It is Hawaiian time completely. So you were all on time and I was late. Exactly. That's me. Well, look who else is late, though. I just noticed here we've got a sleuth mom who's late. Even with my tech issues, I beat her. See? Also, hey Tammy, how you doing, my dear? And also, oh, I am so happy to be back with you guys. I really freaking missed y'all. I I don't know. People kept saying, "You're on vacation. Take some time." And I'm like, "But I gotta go. I gotta say hi to everyone. I really missed y'all." And but I am probably going to. I gotta figure out how to do this, but I've got so many amazing videos and pictures. I tried to share some of them whenever I could get an upload to work. Um, I'm just gonna say this before we start, gang. 3 week cruise. A lot of things could have gone wrong. Could have, would have, should have gone wrong. You were just trying to slide on in. Is that what it was? You're feeling like you are never in anyone's way, my dear. Never, 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 Miss Tim. And no, a trip like that, so many things could go wrong. And so many times I thought things were going to go wrong. And I don't know if my dad was following my mom because this was family. It was literally my mom, my brother, my niece, and me. That was it. And it was true family, okay, immediate family. And the only person missing from that immediate family was my dad. But throughout this, we kept having things happen that should have totally destroyed the vacation. And every single time one of those things happened, it turned into a positive. Literally, even COVID turned into a positive. Both my mom and I got sick, but not, I mean, she got sicker than I did. I didn't even get a fever with it. But even with both of us, I mean, not that bad, not that bad at all. Um, but what came out of it, my brother and my niece got a whole day off, just the two of them, him and his daughter. It was the greatest thing ever. Tammy, I love you, my dear. Okay. Believe me. Okay. Only you can believe it, but I mean it. You're good. I know a lot of people are having a rough time right now. I've definitely been talking to a lot of people are catching up now when I've come back. I don't know. There's a lot going on right now. I have noticed that with a lot of people lately. And so, but yeah, that was one thing. We ended up having a two or three locations we were supposed to go visit. We could not visit because the ice was so bad in southern Greenland. And yet both of those, so all those days, it first of all gave us more time on the boat just to relax and be with each other. And then when we were out at, okay, in those locations, Nook, Greenland was one of them, it turned out we met people that we never would have met otherwise, which was wonderful. And then the last real biggie was when we were in Iceland. It was crazy because we wanted to go to this place called Diamond Beach. And to get up there, you had to go up this like it was like a 3.5 hour drive to get there. And there's really only one road in and out of the whole area. Well, the day before we're due to go there, I look up on the news, Facebook group actually, and I find out that they've had what they call a glacial outbreak. Basically, if you know a glacier, okay, it's all ice, and under that you've got running water. A glacial outbreak occurs when that running water bursts through. And when it bursts through, it is so bad, it destroys roads, bridges, land. I mean, it is like horrible flood, really horrible flood. All of a sudden, we heard we're not going to get up to Diamond, okay, Beach because they've had a really bad glacial outbreak. So I was upset. That was one of my bucket lists from this trip, but I was having to realize I wasn't going to get to it. All of a sudden, the night before, I start seeing things saying that they may have actually, the bridge on that road, which they thought had been washed out, was actually saved. The road was washed out, but not the bridge. And they worked on it. And at about 10:30 that night, they were able to reopen the road. One-way traffic, but they reopened it, which allowed us that next day. And I've got video of this. I can't wait to show you guys the video of this area where this glacial flood just came straight down. I mean, it was had to be about a half mile wide. It was huge and it was just total flat to the ground, everything flat to the ground. And but we were able to get up there and go see these areas. So I don't know, you guys call it whatever you want. Someone was watching over during us during this trip. I say it was my dad. My dad was with us this whole trip. I really honestly believe he was the only one missing physically, but he was there and he was making it perfect. So anyhow, I had to say that. But I do want to get to, because we had a lot of updates during the last 3 weeks. I'm going to cover some of them right now. One of them, as you guys know, and I did not put that on the update today because it was really early in the time. The verification about Caleb did come in, and the body that was found a few weeks ago did turn out to be Caleb's body. We're still not, oh, it was my dad, and yeah, it was most amazing. I can't wait to share more with you guys. I really can't wait to share more. But yeah, it was Caleb. I I don't think any of us really still to this day know what happened. Was it an accident? Was it an unaliving? Was it something else? I don't know if we'll ever get those answers, to be honest. But I do know at least now his family have some level of closure. And all we can do now is pray for them and for their ability to deal with this news, and life changes completely. And so that was one. However, there were a lot of others. Many of you guys know Maria, we were covering. Maria was found. There's been some other, just real quickly, some of the cases we're going to go over today. We have Maria. We're going to start with Maria. Then there is, oh, my little dogs. Monkey. Guys, I don't know about you. Monkey was, I think, my first case I ever covered. It was either Ariel or Monkey. It was one of those two. And I've never followed a case on YouTube as a creator to the point where NCMEC started doing updated photos, age progression photos. I mean, Angel maybe. And, but they've come out with an age progressed photo of Monkey. And that just, when I saw that come through, it just brings so much, the updates on these, knowing he's still out there and needs to be brought home to his mom and dad. And also we're going to go over that. We also have, let's see, Aubrey Wyatt, her mom has been released from her social media jail bit that the court system was putting her through. There are going to be some fundraisers, as well as Heather Wyatt is reminding everyone this is about being a voice for Aubrey. So we're going to go through that and listen to something that Heather actually shared on TikTok. Then updates on Aaron Ong, concerning Seraya's parental kidnapping. And then last is a new case for you guys. I've actually been talking to Seal a little bit about this because it's a case that it was a kidnapping essay murder that happened in Hawaii in 1991. 3 men were sent to jail for this. Everyone was like, yeah, that's who did it. Well, about a year ago, we started getting some new DNA evidence, and that DNA evidence was not matching the 3 that everything was pointing towards. So Project Innocence came in and started saying, okay, we need to find out what's going on. We got to find out what's going on at this point. And they started looking at stuff, doing some genealogical DNA research. And they have now found the person who actually did kill, essay, kidnap, and kill Dana back in 1991 here in Hawaii. And that person has been free this whole time, completely free this whole time, while 3 men were in prison. One of them died in prison. And police are still trying to connect things, and we're going to talk about, I'm probably going to do some deep dives into this case because one of those 3 men that was in prison that long, I've actually talked about him on this channel before because he actually was an employee at one of the facilities I worked at while I was at the facility during the trial time. So this has been kind of one of those things that's made me realize, we judge people a lot of times, and even so often we're like, well, they were found guilty, so they're guilty. Not always. I know the police are still trying to connect things. As of today, they're trying to. We'll go a little bit more. We're not going to do a deep dive into it today, but we will definitely introduce the case because this case is just starting. There's going to be a lot going on in this case in the future. And it is something close to my heart, just being here in Hawaii. Hey, Chris, how you doing, my dear? And Chris was first in chat too tonight. So let's start with Maria. As many of you guys know, we've been following Maria since May 29th. Maria actually went missing on the same day as Nadia Cole. Nadia is the woman who went missing with Aaron Ong and Seraya, 2-year-old Seraya. So both of them went missing on the same day. And in fact, I was going to be doing a Missing Mondays, and I'm like, oh, who do I cover? And I actually covered Maria at the time. What worried me in this case is you had a young girl who was fairly new to the United States, okay, preteen, who has gone missing. We were hearing all these stories at the time of people being predated on, okay, people who were basically predators who are going to try to talk a young woman or a young man into trusting them. And unfortunately, that is very heavily what happened in this case. Okay, I've got this little news story. Hey, Tim, how you doing, Tim? Hello, hello, hello. In fact, let me pull it up because it's a little hard for me to read on that little thing right there. So give me just a second while I pull it up and can read it a little better. But long story short, you remember she had gone missing. She had left her house, and her dad and all were looking high and low for her. Community was really working hard to try to find her. Well, what it turns out is on July 25th, she was found in Ohio. Now, this started in Gainesville, Georgia, ended up in Ohio. She was found with a man by the name of Antonio Augustin Aylan, I guess. He's 34-year-old Guatemalan national who lives in Dover, Ohio. Now, we have a press release we are going to go over. Actually, here, let's go over the press release now, and then I'll kind of fill you in on what happened. I'm not sure how many. Actually, let me ask. Put a 1 in chat if you are updated on Maria. This happened while I was on vacation, so I'm not sure how many of you guys have all this info. Put a 1 in chat if you have been following and you know what happened to Maria. Put a 2 in chat if this is going to be new information for you. So, a new news release came out today. All this started coming, whoopsie, well, something just fell, and there went my ring light. A news release was put out after all of this started coming together on July the 30th. Mama, how you doing, my dear? And so we got twos. Okay, good. So I'm not the only one who's reading. BC's got the info, and a BC's always so good with the info. Okay, so let's one for Chris. Chris is usually real good too on this stuff. Okay, so the suspect in Maria, this came out today. Suspect is remaining in custody in Ohio. Now remember, she went missing out of Gainesville. She was found across state lines, multiple state lines in Ohio. That's going to affect a lot of things because there were a lot of crimes happening potentially across multiple state jurisdictions. Okay, because what ended up happening is he picked her up at the house. Oh my God, Tim, you're noticing that too. His face, that little, I mean, I'm sorry, but there are certain times I just won't, sorry for sounding violent here, but I just want to slap a smile off of someone's face. And this is kind of one of those situations. I've also heard that he's a little on the shorter side. Someone mentioned, I don't know if this is true though, but we're talking extremely short. But yeah, that little, it's like the cat who ate the bird, whatever that's saying. It's just, yeah, no. So let's take us back here. The suspect, okay, who you're looking at here with that little shit-eating grin, okay, 30 was arrested last week in connection with the disappearance of Maria Gomez, who's 12 years old, of Gainesville, who will remain in the custody of authorities in Ohio for the foreseeable future. He looks short, exactly, in the bushes, and I'm hearing he's pretty short. Antonio, who's 34 now, the original press conference was saying 31, but it looks like it's being cleared as 34 now from everything I'm finding. Hey Lioness, how you doing, my dear? Oh, it was a fun one, but I missed you guys. So that's great, Chris. That is awesome. And I know this was a case a lot of people were connecting with for quite a while. So I'm happy she was able to be one of the people connecting and keeping up people updated. Always important. Um, so he was taken into custody last Thursday, and I'll go through exactly what happened that led up to that. He was discovered with, okay, Maria in Dover. He had traveled basically to Gainesville for the purpose of taking her into his residence in Ohio. The investigation determined the suspect took the victim from Gainesville on May 29th, the last day she was seen at his residence. After consultation with the Hall County Sheriff's Office and the elected county prosecutor in Tuscarawas County, Ohio, I apologize, we have determined it best to delay extradition to Hall County. Based on the information we have at this time, the most serious criminal offenses seem to have occurred in Ohio. So, with all of the serious, okay, this is me talking now, not what's written here. With all of those more serious offenses happening there, it's going to make a lot more sense to do everything there. Okay. And as you hear what happened during this time, yeah, it seems like even her disappearing is less of an issue as to what was happening at his house. Put it that way. So the bulk of the witnesses are there. Everything that they need to prove their case will be there. It makes sense that the suspect answer to what charges Ohio proceeds on first. Chris, I don't know. That one I'm still looking for. I do know he is a Guatemalan national, but I do not know actual legal side of any of this yet. Hall County Sheriff Gerald Couch agreed with the DA's decision. My primary goal in this case is to see justice done. If that means we have to wait for the suspect to have his day in court in Ohio before he faces, oopsie, I just changed my page here, sorry. Before he faces our charges, so be it. I just want to make sure he has no chance of luring another young girl from home, wreaking havoc on another community like he did ours. The DA office indicated it will move forward with filing relevant charges in Hall County, likely though a grand jury presentation as Tuscarawas County proceeds with its case. Okay, so what ended up happening here? So you've seen this here. Why is it that they're keeping him in Ohio rather than the other? What we've been able to gather is this. Maria 12, okay, Maria, no matter what, and what I'm going to say, and I'm going to be saying, please remember, no matter what I say coming up, Maria's 12. She's a victim in this no matter what. Okay. That's a good question, Tim. Okay. First of all, yes, that's a possibility, and that's one of the options that I would not be surprised to see Poppy. He has on ice hold. Okay, that's what I was wondering. I'm pulling all this stuff together last second, so thank you for that. And yeah, does he have any priors in past country? I was wondering that myself, um, because we're seeing that routinely lately. But basically, what had happened was Maria, as most teenagers and preteens deal with things, you can deal with things, and for various, and we don't know her story. That is something that is going to be between her therapists, okay, child protective services, things like that, and that's something I'm hoping they're working on right now. And but basically, she had gotten to a point where she was not happy at home. Okay, now anyone who has a teenager or preteen knows that could be anything. It could be anything from, okay, being mad because she's having to do homework every single night or not being able to go out with friends or something, to all the way at the other end, possible things, is there any maltreatment going on at home or things like that? We don't know. And that's not necessarily, and I am going to say that that's not our business to know right now. That's between her, her therapist, child protective services, whatever, and whoever needs to know to make sure that she is safe moving forward. Find out what her reasoning was. Because, like I said, it can be all the way from step 1 to step 10. Okay. And that's going to make a difference as to how they proceed. But what was happening is, because of this, Maria had found herself on Facebook specifically Facebook Messenger, talking to not only Augustin, but other men, older men who she was telling she was not happy at home. Okay, giving them that full story and all. Well, as many of us who are adults know, that's the perfect type of young adult, okay, not even a young adult, preteen, okay, that many of these predators are looking for. Okay, how many times we hear that's how they lure people in. Okay, if they know, if someone comes up to them and says, "Oh yeah, I'm really upset at home and I don't like it at home and I want to leave and all," the first thing someone who's trying to lure a child away is going to do at that point be like, "Bingo, I got them." And they're not going to care. Okay, and the child does not know what this person is. All they know is that this guy is being really nice to them. And that's basically what happened in this case. You've got this young 12-year-old who started trusting adult. And that's one of the things I had said I was worried about in this case. She's coming from another country where there may be a different trust levels set up. Okay, I mean, I just got back from certain places in Northern Europe where people trusted each other because you're around each other all the time. Okay, crime is not as prevalent, things like that. And so she had been talking with multiple adults. Um, Augustin was one of them, and they found her Facebook Messenger. And I wonder how BC exactly. I'm wondering how many teens he was. Yeah, and that's it. I'm hoping they are doing a really good job of talking with him and getting that information out, checking his computers, checking his phones, checking all those to find out what else is going on there. Because the chances that she was the first are pretty slim. And yes, everyone starts somewhere, but it's not good. It's not good. I'm also hoping, I'll be honest, that they can use her computer to find some of these other people that were talking to her, because how many of the others that she might have been talking to did not have great thoughts behind them too. And so I'm hoping they can get some information from both of these setups. So she had been on Facebook Messenger and other apps. They haven't named the other apps, just Facebook Messenger. Um, and through that conversation, okay, they decided Augustin was going to come pick her up and take her back to Ohio, get her away from family and all that, which is what they did. He drove out from Ohio to Gainesville, picked her up in his car, and then drove back to Ohio, um, and had her for that whole time, May 29th to July 25th. So just over a month. Some of the things when he was originally held, okay, and put into jail, they did have him down as one of the reasons being SA. Um, that was pulled back, I think mainly because they're still doing investigations and all that, but it's not that far of a jump to think that something like that may have happened. And that's why all we can do is hope and pray that she's okay. The problem is, in these cases, these people are so insidious about how they go about developing trust, almost a Stockholm syndrome type thing, where the child, the preteen, the teenager begins to see that behavior as normal. And uh, and that's kind of what I see probably happened in this case, because what happened was, um, about a week before she was found, Maria contacted her dad. She created a new Facebook account, okay, contacted her dad through Facebook Messenger and told him that she was okay. Okay, she was not planning on coming home and she wanted him to stop looking for her. Those were the three things she had to tell him. Once they finished talking, dad contacted the authorities immediately. The authorities were able to start looking at that account. They were able to get the IP address from the account. They were able to get the phone number attached to that account. When they got all that, they started tracking the phone. The phone was tracked to the Dover City in Ohio swimming pool. They went there, and while they were doing that, they saw both Maria and Augustin. You wonder if he had her do. I'm trying to figure that one out myself. Hey guys, what about you guys in chat right now? Okay, because I've been going back and forth on this one myself. Do you think he was behind her contacting dad to kind of put the police and everyone off, thinking, oh yeah, I'm thinking smarter than the police. We'll create a new account so no one can track us or anything like that. And then they'll just stop because we know she's safe. Okay, dad knows she's safe and we'll move on. Or do you think Maria realized that dad was looking for her and made the decision herself to create the other account and put the information in and all that, and then made the call? I'm be interested. Which way do you guys think? Do you think it was him or her? And because it could be either way. It could be either. I can tell you if it's coming from him, that was plain stupidity. I mean, pure stupidity. Um, I could see a young girl trying to. You love your dad and your mom no matter what. Even if there is issues going on and you're mad at them and stuff like that, there's still that love there no matter what. And you don't want to see mom or dad, okay, hurting and worried about you. And so I don't know. I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to see exactly how that comes out as we start getting more information on it. But they saw them both at the swimming pool. And while they were at the swimming pool, they got themselves ready and they decided to leave. They got in their car, headed off to a mall, a shopping center. While they were at the shopping center, the police and all decided to make a move. The agents, how old is he? He's 34, I think. Yeah, 34. The press conference was saying 31, but everything else I'm finding is saying 34. So I'm wondering if the press conference was given by someone who hadn't really gotten the data together, because everything else since seems to be saying 34. And no worry, yeah, sorry, not sorry. Hey, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Trust me, it's only stupid when we don't ask. I never believed my teachers when they used to tell me that, but as I've gotten older, yes, it's true. Um, so once they got to the shopping center, they approached Augustin and Maria. They took Augustin into custody immediately, and Maria was recovered and then taken to a hospital for a wellness check. At that point, they were saying they were going to be returning her back to Gainesville. Of course, the questions at this point come down to why did she make the decision to leave to begin with? And even if it is something on the lower level, just being mad and all, you still have to deal with those emotions that are going on. Okay, you want her to be in a place where she is getting the best care, she feels safe, and she feels like she can work through not only issues leading up to whatever happened, okay, with her leaving, but the issues that occurred while she was there. 1 month. I guarantee you they were not at the swimming pool every day, put it that way. Okay, so hopefully, and from what we're hearing right now, is law enforcement is working with her, trying to get an idea between them, CPS, things like that. What is the best option for her right now? What do they need to be doing to ensure that she is able to take care of her own mental health at this point? And the problem, this is just one incident to this. I don't know if Sleuth is here, but I know Sleuth has dealt with this type of story before too, where you have these young preteens and teens who are lured and almost get that Stockholm type syndrome. And they have someone who truly makes them think that they care about them, and they don't care about them. Okay, there's only one reason they're involved in this whole thing. And all, but the teenager doesn't believe that. The teenager just knows they think someone cares about them and they don't want to hurt that person. I'm trying to remember within that one. A lot of times, I don't know specifically in this case. I do know they were saying that she wasn't as happy at home, but like I said, we don't know what that means right now. And as much as she was all over social media, he was taking her. Yeah, that's what amazes me. She was all over social media. Now, yes, Gainesville to Ohio, but she was getting national news. Okay, it wasn't like she was just okay in Gainesville or something. No, she was getting national news. This is a totally different case there, and so we'll see what happens. In this case, they are looking at all of the different offenses right there. He is in custody in Ohio. Like I said from the press release, they know that's where the more serious offenses occurred. So they want to keep there because that's where, okay, they can get their witnesses, they can do the best investigations, things like that. And we'll hear more about that over the next couple days, and I'll update you guys for sure. So, next case I wanted to update you guys on, and it's not a lot of stuff. I am going to read a real quick article from it. And that is Monkey. I mentioned to you while I was on vacation, I saw Monkey was back in the news cycle. And at first I had hoped they had found him. And that's when I realized no, what it was they were updating photos for him. He's been gone so long that they've had to do an age progression now. And we need to get this progression out. We also need to keep sharing the picture of him when he disappeared. Okay. Yes, they think they have a pretty good idea. They know what's going on with things. Let me just go through this because they did, for those of you who may not remember all of Monkey's case. And yes, I've got noisy little dogs. July 27th, so last weekend, marked 3 years since his disappearance from Fruitland, Idaho home. He would now be 8 years old. Okay, I mean, my heart just goes out to Brandy. I mean, really, yeah, it's 8 year old. He'd be going into what, second grade, if I remember right now. I think that's 8 years old. And he just disappeared without a trace. He walked away from home and no one knows what happened. Yes, we have thoughts on it. We have certain people in jail right now. Fruitland began digging up, in fact, here we go, began digging up parts of a backyard blocks from his home well over a year ago. We all thought we had the answers coming up right then. However, those answers were pulled away at that time because they never found any remains or anything. CBS 2 spoke with Fruitland Police Chief J.D. Huff on Tuesday. Chief Huff tells us that 2 detectives continue to work this case each week. So 2 people assigned to this case who are still working tips. He says that they received new tips just this week and that he believes the department knows they have a firm understanding of what happened to Monkey, but he is not elaborating further. I think a lot of us have some ideas what that is, who's involved. Okay, Wandra, all them, but nothing else beyond that. Talking about Wandra, there you go. Residents of the home that was searched, Sarah and Stacy Wandra, were considered suspects by police, but only Sarah faced charges of failing to report a death to the coroner. Those charges were later dropped by the prosecutor's office without much explanation. In a press conference after the search of the backyard, Chief Huff said that they may have found sufficient evidence showing that Monkey was once buried on that property, but was later on moved. No evidence has been seen publicly identified to indicate where those remains may have been moved or what evidence police uncovered that may indicate he was ever there to begin with. So something is there. The answer is there somewhere. They're just trying to pull all this stuff together because as much as we want the arrests, we want justice for Monkey. Okay, we don't want anyone to jump so quick to something thinking, okay, justice, let's get this justice right now, but not be able to prove what needs to happen. And because we need these people behind jail bars for good. Okay, not to get out on some little thing that should have been checked differently at the time. And that's what's hard because he deserves justice right now. His whole family deserves that. Chief Huff announced they believe at least two other individuals were connected to the disappearance of Monkey, Brandon Shirtliff and Adrian Lucien. Police made contact with both men, though the results of that contact has never been made public. So those were the two. CBS 2 regularly follows up with officials tied to the case, and the results have remained the same for nearly a year. Chief Huff tells them that all the information, evidence, and the case has been given to the prosecutor's office. They reached out to the Payette prosecutor's office for an update, but did not immediately receive a response. When one is received, it will be added here. The case against Wandra has been dropped, though prosecutors can refile those charges, and no one else potentially connected to Michael's disappearance has been charged. For a grieving family and community, there's still no answers. And so that's what's just frustrating. But again, this is why I wanted to bring this one up here. We have the new photo, we have his old photo. Hopefully there's still people out there who can fill in the small pukas, the little holes. Okay, in Hawaii, the word puka is a hole. Okay, the small holes in the case that are keeping them from pulling the trigger and actually arresting so we can actually go after justice. It is devastating. I mean, I told my mom, to have been following a case long enough for these things to pop up, that it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Okay, to know all those firsts, going to school, okay, the fun of classes, all the different stories that would have happened over those 3 years. It's, yeah. Anyhow, please help us in getting those pictures out. I know a lot of you guys have, those of you who have channels, Facebook accounts, a lot of people have been sharing this. But again, it's important because every time we get these things shared out, more people continue talking. And that's what's important. And also, next, okay, let me introduce you guys to Dana. Let me ask real quickly, other than Seal, because I did talk to Seal about this. Not sure how many, if any of you, Chris may have heard a little bit about this case because it was a quote unquote cold case. How many of you have ever heard of Dana Ireland's case? Put a 1 in chat if you've heard of Dana. Put a 2 in chat if you have never heard Dana's case mentioned. Dana was visiting her family for Christmas holidays back in 1991. Long time ago. Long time ago. Her family lived on the Big Island, and she was there visiting them. And on Christmas Eve, she got on a bike and decided to go for a bike ride. Okay, Big Island of Hawaii. You think it's fairly safe. It's a small town. Yes, it's got crime and stuff like that, but a lot of twos in chat. I had a funny feeling, actually. It's infamous here in Hawaii. If you're connected to Hawaii, it's an infamous case. Put it that. Probably the most known. Yeah, well, one of the most known, if not the most known, case of recent times. While she was out on her bike ride, she was hit by a car. She was later on found, okay, on a fishing trail. Her bike mangled. She had been taken away from where all that was, and she had been essayed and was in really, really bad shape. Very bad shape. Hey, Michelle, welcome, 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 Michelle. And I'll good to see you again. So she was found by people. They were able to get her to Hilo Medical Center. Unfortunately, the next day she succumbed to her injuries and she passed away. Investigations went on really quick. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to pull this up as I'm talking to you so we can go through a quick timeline rather than me breaking it all down. There's a pretty good news story with it all. What ended up happening is over the next couple months, years, there were 3 people named as her murderers. Okay, 2 brothers, Albert, Ian Schweitzer, and Sean Schweitzer, and a neighbor of theirs, Frank Pauline. There was a lot of pointing of fingers at people and stuff like that, even to the point where some of those that were found guilty later even said, oh yeah, I was there at the time that this happened, and then they recanted. And so, I mean, in the public's eyes, I'll be honest, guys, everyone was like, yeah, these people did it. They did it. It was pretty much not a question in most people's eyes. How did I knew about the story just growing up. I mean, I was like a sophomore in high school when it first started. And but what ended up happening is later on, I went to work on Kauai. And the reason why this has always been a little closer to me is I've told this story before, actually, on this channel, where I had an employee at the facility where I worked. He is one of the brothers. He was a nurse. And because of our rules within, the union rules and all, when you had an employee who had not been found guilty yet, you can't pull them off of the floor. You can't just say, hey, you lose your job, because he's still innocent till proven guilty. And so we brought him back in, but because it was a long-term care facility, he worked out in the groundskeeping area. But nonetheless, I saw him. And there were times, that I'll be honest, I judged him based off of things. And I kind of feel really bad about it now, to be honest with you. Because what has now happened is about a year ago, Innocence Project decided they wanted to get involved because they felt these 3 men were not part of what happened. And so they got involved, started pulling up DNA. Well, everyone was pulled off last year. They got out of jail and everything. As of last week, they found out who actually did it. And I'll tell you more about that story in a second. But what I want to share first for all you guys is a timeline, real quick timeline, to just under 3 minutes, so you guys have a better idea of her story. So when we go through it, you'll have a better idea. Let me go back here and shush my dog in a second. Okay, here we go.
Dana Ireland's death has been under investigation for the past 3.
Great.
And there are still a lot of questions.
Tell me if you guys can hear anything.
How did we get here in the first place?
Anything.
We have a breakdown of the timeline for this murder investigation.
Let me know if you guys can hear anything. Sure, if you guys could. There.
Year-old Dana Ireland was visiting the
something is totally going
from Virginia in 1991. But her trip to the islands was cut short after her body was found on.
I'm going to start this over for a second because I was getting echoes like crazy. Okay, so I'm going to start this over. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear, because something was weird with my speaker then for a sec. And all, but hopefully we will be good moving forward.
Dana Ireland's death has been under investigation for the past 3 decades.
Sorry. My microphone, my earbuds. I wonder if I messed up my earbuds on vacation.
And there are still a lot of questions to be answered. But how do we get here?
Okay. I am going to have to do something weird here because my earbuds are not working. And also, let's see. Give me a thumbs up. Can you guys hear that? Okay, you guys can hear it. It's just I can't hear it. Okay, no problem. I can read subtitles. That works. That's why I have subtitles. Okay, we're going to start it over again.
Dana Ireland's death has been under investigation for the past 3 decades. And there are still a lot of questions to be answered. But how do we get here in the first place? We have a breakdown of the timeline for this murder investigation.
23-year-old Dana Ireland was visiting the Big Island from Virginia in 1991. But her trip to the islands was cut short after her body was found on Christmas Eve in the Va'a subdivision in Kapoho.
Thank you, guys.
Police say a vehicle struck her while she was riding a bike along a fishing trail. Officers found her mangled bike and her body just miles away in the bushes. She was barely alive and partially naked. Officers found that she was kidnapped and sexually assaulted. She died from her injuries on Christmas Day. It wasn't until 6 years later, police arrested Albert Ian Schweitzer, his then 16-year-old brother Sean, and
So some of the things you just were introduced to the Schweitzer brothers there. Some of them, they don't go over it, I'll kind of go over with you guys what happened with each of them, because Sean actually entered into a deal, because what was happening with the other two, we were talking about 3 life sentences, another one 130 years before probation. Now, true, Sean was 16 at the time and was supposed to have been a minor role in things, but he did take a deal which actually gave him 5 years probation and 1 year jail, where the other two had serious jail time given to them.
their friend Frank Pauline in connection to Ireland's death. They were indicted on 3 charges: second-degree murder, kidnapping, and sex assault. In 1998, the case was dismissed. DNA testing showed the Schweitzer brothers were not connected to the sex assault. The Schweitzer brothers were reindicted in 1999 due to a jailhouse informant. They were found guilty the year after. Ian was to serve life in prison on all 3 counts. Sean was to serve a year in jail with time served and 5 years probation for manslaughter and kidnapping. In 2015, Pauline, who was still serving time in a New Mexico prison, was killed by an inmate. That brings us to 2019, nearly 19 years after the Schweitzers were found guilty.
So we get into this whole thing. The day before, Hawaii Innocence Project steps up and says, okay, we want to reinvestigate this. Okay. The day before all that starts, coming out now, the Schweitzers, and Frank Pauline knew that they were going to do this, so they were happy. It's like, yes, okay, people are going to look into this. But the day before all that happened, Frank Pauline was out in the yard at the prison. Hawaii has some contracts with prisons on the mainland, because we only have so much space here. So we do have these deals where they go to the mainland, and both Ian and Frank were sent to the mainland. While they were he was in the Southern New Mexico Correctional Facility recreation yard, a fight broke out and he was hit in the head with a rock and he died. The next day, Hawaii Innocence Project says, we want to reopen this case and take a look at everything. And that started everything, 2019, until all of this came together a couple days, guys, ago. And I will let you know this, the police are still standing by the idea they feel that the 3 of them could still have been involved in the murder in one way or another. Yet the guy whose DNA it ended up being was the SA side of things. This is going to get nasty. There's going to be a lot of more stuff going on with this. What is sickening is what happened to the person who actually sat by and let these people potentially go to jail for this whole time and never spoke up, knowing that he was the one behind at least the SA for sure, and most likely the whole thing. And so, Astro Space, how you doing, my dear? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
The Hawaii Innocence Project stepped in to help the brothers and called for a reinvestigation. In 2023, they filed a petition to assert innocence, and new DNA came into play. A T-shirt from the scene and Ireland's rape kit linked the DNA to a new suspect identified as unknown male number 1. Because of that, the Schweitzer brothers were exonerated. By then, Ian had served 25 years in prison. And in July
So now what we have is October 2023. We have Ian has been exonerated. He is out of jail. At that point, Frank would have been exonerated also, most likely. And unfortunately, he was killed while in prison. So he was not able to see that date. Now, During this time, they're out of jail, but the whole investigation continues on.
24, investigators were able to find and identify unknown male number 1.
And this is what
Investigators
just
collected
was on
DNA from the
vacation.
suspect via a swab on July 19th, and those tests linked the suspect to the scene. But the suspect was found dead on July 23rd. The medical
And there's the big point there. I'm going to go through the dates with you real quickly here. But basically, right after the suspect had a DNA test done, an official DNA test done, he kills himself. Now, no one has answers. Police are still saying, well, you know what, maybe the 3 were still involved. Project Innocence is like, oh, hell no, you just proved all this stuff. How can you say that? It's all over the place right now. So let me go through all of that a little bit now. I'm going to pull this down and pull this back up for you guys so you can see all the players. As I mentioned, Frank Pauline, who you are seeing in the lower left with the color picture, that's one of his pictures. I don't think so. A lot of us are just getting to know this guy. In fact, they didn't even, when they first told everyone about the DNA, we didn't even have his name. The name is now just starting to come out over the last few days. But what ended up happening was Frank, and we'll do a much more deep. If you guys are interested in this, we can go into a very deep dive in this on what happened, because like I said, everyone in Hawaii was like, no, they have to be involved in this. They have to be. Okay. It was one of those that 99% of everyone was like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you literally had Frank Pauline confessing to media that he was present at the time of the attack before he later recanted. Okay. And when he went to trial, claimed he was innocent. So there was so many things going on in this case that led people to these things. However, what they did is they started looking at the DNA, and they actually went back genealogically with the DNA, looking at past generations to be able to track this guy down. And then what ended up happening was let me see if I can get my notes right here. Okay, in early July this year, they had kind of gotten to the point where they're like, we think this is the guy. We think, but how do we prove it? We don't have enough proof to be able to just pull him in. I mean, you got to have proof of stuff. So they were following him, and they were at a lunch place. Okay. And he got a plate lunch, common for all of us out here. We have plate lunch all the time. And he, at the end of eating, he took his stuff and he threw it in the trash. Well, the moment you throw certain things in a public trash, it's public access. So they went there and they grabbed a fork, and they tested that fork for the DNA. That test came back that this guy, who you're looking up in the upper left, those are 2 photos of him decades apart. And hello, Robin. Happy to be there. And those are 2 pictures of him from decades apart and all that. But this person, Albert Lauro, came back as the person known as unknown suspect number 1. The one that they had all of the DNA on, skin DNA, okay, multiple types of DNA connecting to him. However, that was still not, I mean, this was gathered. You could say, okay, maybe it was off of someone else's that was in the trash or stuff like that. So they had to prove it. They got a order for another court-ordered DNA test. And on July 19th, a couple weeks later, they called him in to the police station, and they administered that court-ordered DNA test. Problem a lot of people have right now that is turning into a major issue is after they did that court-ordered test, they released him. The police felt that the statute of limitations for the SA had expired. They could not pull him up on that anymore. So all they had him on was murder. And they did not, in their eyes, they did not feel they had enough to arrest him, enough probable cause to arrest him for that. So they let him go. They let him go. 4 days later, he kills himself. He self-deletes. He took the easy way out because the next day, the results from the test came in. And it confirmed he was the match for the DNA of the person they feel is responsible for Dana's death. And so now you've got a lot of other issues going on. A lot of people upset. Why the hell did they ever let this guy go? I mean, literally, why did they let him go? Because now they're not going to get their answers. There's a lot of questions about what was there incompetence going on? Was there something more insidious going on? The brothers, Albert and Sean, are wanting, I guess there was a 1-hour interview with Albert when they did the DNA. They are wanting that released. They want everything released at this point. I mean, Ian spent decades in jail. Frank, Pauline died in jail. They want everything released. The police do not want to do that. So there's going to be some stuff going on there. Project Innocence is very frustrated because they did not even know the guy had killed himself until the results came back. And all of a sudden, that's how they, oh, yeah, the results came back positive. Oh, by the way, the guy killed himself yesterday. That's how they found out about it. And so there's a lot of issues going on in this case right now. So we'll see what's going on. Like I said earlier, police are still entertaining the idea. Could the 3 have been involved in all of this with him? Could it have been 4 people involved in the kidnapping, essay, and murder of Dana? Okay. Project Innocence is like, no, the DNA points in one direction. That's where it needs to be. So a lot of things going on this. It's going to be interesting to see how all this comes up. So let me know if you'd want a little bit more in depth. How did we get to this? Okay. The full trial and everything. I mean, my brother was with the media at the time. My brother used to work with the media locally. And he was even flabbergasted. Okay, his friends who were actual reporters on this case are like, what? This was just, and like I said, is it incompetence? Is there something more insidious? Is it the 4 of them? Is it so many questions? And Dana's family is left not getting these answers because now the guy who was definitely involved can't speak. And there are no answers to be given. So we're right back to where we were. So that's going on in Hawaii. Other things that are going on. Aaron, a lot of you guys have been following Aaron. Not much here. However, I did want to share with you, Aaron did end up, as you guys know, Aaron and Nadia were found in Mexico with Seraya. Seraya did come home. She's with mom now. Mom and grandma are sharing tons of pictures with the community at large because they feel the community really came together to help find her. And they want to be able to give back to the community. So they've been sharing a lot of pictures and things like that. Other than that, though, let me pull up another article here we can go through real quickly with an update as of today, actually. Moscow. Okay, here we go. So right now, the only one in this case who is imprisoned, okay, and in jail is Aaron. A lot of people have wanted to know what's been going on with Nadia. Nadia is not in prison. I don't know if she has taken a deal or what. I'm sure we're going to find out that answer over time. And however, today, okay, Aaron did appear in court to face federal international kidnapping charges. Basically, they are charging him with that. They're also requesting that he be detained until trial. This guy has already ran away once with his child. Okay, they don't trust him not to run away again. And so just a real quick, there was a right here is what I did want to say. So Aung faces federal charge of international parental kidnapping when he failed to bring his daughter Seraya to the Pullman Police Department for a custody exchange. Vanessa Waldriff, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Washington, was quoted as saying, "These are the cases that our office really prioritizes because it involves international issues and our close collaboration with Mexican authorities, the FBI, Customs and Border Protection. We had great collaboration from the Pullman Police and our local police officers who became aware of the victim child being missing. From the get-go, we were able to harness all of our local and federal resources to really effectively identify where the child was located and then move quickly on these federal charges." Kathleen, welcome, 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 Kathleen. The U.S. is also asking for Aung to be detained until trial. Okay, the next thing we will hear from them is on the 8th, when there's going to be a preliminary hearing. So hopefully we'll hear a little bit more information about what all is happening there, as well as a motion for the detention hearing, okay, at that time. I have not read it. However, there is a super freaking long document that Aaron's sister has put together against Samara. I just came across it. I think it's like 148 pages. Yeah, that's all I can say is yeah. If you were following the case, you know that Aaron's family has been very, very heavily, okay, on the side of trying to basically assassinate the character of, okay, Samara and her family. Yeah, I can't even with this case. It's Kimberly. It's a case that never stops giving. I swear. Okay, I'm just like the family. Now, I can tell you this as part of today's hearing, he is not allowed to not only not talk with, and it's pretty common for everything, but with, okay, those people like the Harmon family, but he is not allowed to talk with Nadia, and he is not allowed to talk with his own family. Anyone who could potentially be a witness now is also on that list. So a lot of us have felt that could his family have been involved in helping him and things like that. It's going to be interesting to see how this all comes together. Like I said, the fact that Nadia is not in jail now speaks to something. What that is, we're going to have to see what that comes to. But it definitely says something like that. And so we'll see exactly what that comes, but that's where we are on that case. The 8th will be the next one. We'll see if we have more update. That should be what the 8th is next week, Friday, is it? No, next week, Thursday. So we'll have an update on that next week. And also, last but not least, I wanted to end with this story. Many of you guys remember right before I left, I started talking about Aubrey. Aubrey Wyatt was a junior high student who had been being bullied, okay, badly bullied for a number of years. And she took her own life. Her mother since then has decided her daughter doesn't have a voice anymore, and she is going to be her daughter's voice. She will speak for her daughter. She will try to find some light in the darkest of times. Okay, her daughter went through bullying. Her daughter went through mental health fights because of all this. And she wants to make sure that no other mother ever has to go through what she had to go through. Many of you may remember what had happened is the family, the parents of the girls who were involved in the bullying were pretty much trying to silence mom. Mom had TikTok, Facebook, things like that, where her focus was speaking up about mental health, speaking up about bullying, not about her daughter's specific bullying, but bullying in general. Trying to give children who were being bullied not only a voice, but the feeling that they were not alone. Okay. Let people know it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to hurt. You're not alone. That's what she was there for. And they tried to shut her down on that. And it made many, many people on the internet very irate, very irate. Um, Unfortunately, there were different levels of irateness. Some people were like, you know what, we are going to speak up for, okay, Mom Heather and Aubrey in the best way that we can, in the way that Aubrey would have wanted. Others kind of took the other route of, you know what, let's give the bullies a taste of their own medicine, which I don't think is right. I'm sorry. Two wrongs don't make a right, people. Two wrongs do not make a right. And so you heard of this, the bully shouldn't have the power to, and that was the problem. People saw that the bullying had moved from bullying the daughter to bullying the mom. Night night in the bushes, sleep tight, love you, my dear. Thanks for hanging out as long as you could. Love you, my dear. So she actually, let me pull this up real quickly. She was not able to speak for quite a while. However, while I was gone, there were some changes, and she was allowed to come back onto social media and speak. Part of that included reopening her TikTok page. And that's where I want to real quickly go through she posted a TikTok, which I wanted to share because I think this voice and what she is saying is more important than anything. Every one of us here have been a teenager at one time. It's the hardest years of our lives. That preteen to mid 20 time frame was some of my hardest years of my life. Okay. And it's good to know that you're not alone. How many of us have either ourselves or someone we known had to call 988 or whatever the equivalent of that phone number was at that time? And so I'm going to play this real quickly, then come back because there is some things that she has put together that I do want to share out. And here we go.
Okay, so I'm not going to respond to them. I made a video.
And I'm going to say this real quickly. I've lost my hearing thing again, so I'm not going to be able to listen in with you guys. So if you want to tell me what she's saying in chat, I have listened to this, but still, yeah.
I'm not. And maybe I'll change my mind later, but I just wanted so badly to explain like how the court stuff was working with you guys. But, and I just never want that to be my mission. I will say they're like court papers. The circuit court was withdrawn and Chancery Court was closed. So, okay. Beyond that, and I'm not going to touch on that anymore right now. Like, I'm going to pray about it. Where I'm led by God, that's between me and God, and I'll let you know. But I will say, from the beginning, I have wanted to be Aubrey's voice because she's not here anymore to tell her story. So the audacity of you guys who didn't know Aubrey over there, not like you guys that love us, we love you. You guys over there that want me to be this bad guy so bad, and I'll be your bad guy, I don't care. But in your efforts, sorry about the sun, to make...
While you guys are listening to this, sorry, I know I don't know exactly where she is in the discussion right now because I can't hear it, but this is a woman who is making the best of the worst situation of her life. You don't see her. Yes, you know that she has thoughts on what happened. Yeah, you know that. You can tell. okay, her thought, okay, that she's frustrated with what's happening and stuff like that. But she's not focusing on that. She's focusing on teenagers who are going through these rough times. She's focusing on how she can be there for mothers or fathers who are having to go through dealing with a child who's being bullied, how she can help them move forward.
Like me, the bad guy, you are taking Aubrey's voice, like what she wanted, the legacy she's leaving and the changes she's making, and you're trying to take it. You're not going to be able to take it, but you're trying, and you're overshadowing the goal and the mission. You have your own goal. You have your own mission, right? You want to stop bullying. You want to make a change in a school. So go make those changes. All these TikToks about me, good. I'm happy. Like, cool. Could they have been put towards better use? Probably. So in saying that, from the beginning, mental health, bullying, whatever it may be, teen suicide is the second leading cause of death in teens. Yeah. Our teens are dying, guys, and it's getting younger and younger. We have 10-year-olds and 9-year-olds taking their life, whether it be for bullying or just mental health. There are so many factors, and it has been my mission from the beginning to advocate and to speak and to help that. So yeah, that's what the foundation is doing. That is helping teens. In addition to that, guys, somebody woke up today without their child. They had to go through that same agony that my family had to go through and continues to go through. At least 10 children will take their life today. Look it up. Look the statistics up. That is what I'm here for. To speak on that, to bring awareness to that, to get there to be a point of change. So I'm not going to give you the attention you so desperately seek. Go find something to help. There are kids that need help. There are families that need help. There are teens that need better mental health situations, like whatever it might be in their area. It's the second leading cause of death. And you guys are over here worried about me. What about our babies? Go fight for them like you want to fight to ruin my reputation. Because at the end of the day, I don't matter. Those kids that are going to, their parents are going to wake up and they're not going to be here. They are going to be children who take their life today. And you're...
She is, Kim. She's an amazing, strong lady. I mean, I've said before, when something bad happens to you, whether that is abuse as a child, whether that is something happening to you as you get older, you name it, it could be one of anything. To be able to turn it into something positive and have the strength to try to find that light at the end of the tunnel and turns it into something good. And that's what she's done. She has a foundation she's put together to try to speak on bullies, okay, and speak and say, no, enough is enough. And she's an amazing woman.
Over there worried about me. That's alarming. Go be that change you so badly want. Use your platform for good. Use it to make that change. Teens, I love you. The world does need you. Please stay. Please. You are wanted, you are loved, and you are needed, and don't ever let anyone take that from you. Ever. You are so loved, and you deserve to be here. Have an amazing day, guys.
So I wanted to share that with you guys. Because as we come to the end here, okay, of today's live and everything, I'm trying to get, one of the things that has always meant a lot to me is mental health issues. I used to do a mental health live on Fridays, for example. Many of us have been in those bad places before. And teenage suicide is getting worse. As she mentions in there, it's getting younger and younger and younger. Okay, what used to be your teens is now happening younger, and it's worse and worse and worse. Kimberly, that's the problem in this case. No. And not only were they not punished, one of the parents in this case actually worked within the schools in a leadership position. Nothing was ever done. Now, the school's stepping up, the district now, and putting together some bullying rules and stuff like that, which hopefully are actually acted on, because rules don't mean shh if you don't follow up on them. You could have every rule, law, legislation in the world, but if you don't follow up on them, they're worth as much as, hell, the ink on a piece of paper is worth more than the rule. You got to actually act on them. And this amazing woman has tried to do what she can to bring attention to them. She has had young people come to her and said, you know what? I've decided I wanted to be here now. And it's because of you, because you spoke and you gave me that hope I needed. So they've put together, and I have, Seal, thank you for this flyer. There's a foundation now for, okay, in Ashley's name, to bring attention to bullying and teenage suicide, mental health issues, things like that, to raise money, to educate and help to prevent, like she said, another parent from having to wake up in the morning knowing that their son or daughter is no longer in the house with them. And so there's going to be, for those of you who live in Gulfport, and it's not just that. This is one thing I'm going to be looking into. I noticed there's a lot of, this case has hit a lot of people closely. And there's a lot of fundraisers or just events being held to bring attention to everything across the whole country. I saw one in Missouri a few minutes ago. Okay, different places all around. So I'm actually going to go to the Facebook group that is more the official group and see if they might be able to put together a calendar for officially recognized events. And because this is one of those, Gulfport Dragway, August 24th, and I'll keep advertising this as much as I can, and where they're going to have an event in Aubrey's memory to bring money in to start bringing attention to suicide awareness, to bring attention to bullying. And so if you're in the area, even if it's something you just want to drive down for the weekend, August 24th is a Saturday. Go down there. Okay, I'd love it if someone can send me pictures or videos so we can share all that here. And I'll let you know if there's others around the country, because I am recognizing a couple others. I just want to verify that they are official before I share them out. And and yeah, Kimberly, and that's the thing. A lot of people took it on themselves to punish them because they felt no one else punished them. And that's one of the things I had made the comment about. I think a lot of people, especially if they themselves were bullied, I think a lot of people who were bullied themselves, when they see someone else has been bullied, especially to that degree, and they feel like there's never been any responsibility taken for it, they feel like this is my chance to actually make someone realize how much it hurt me. I think there's some level of that. Yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong. I understand it. I understand the frustrations and all that. I think this is where we can all stand up and say, okay, live like Audrey would. That's what LLAW is. Okay, okay, I played one time a few weeks ago Aubrey's best friend, her TikTok talking about what Aubrey would think about what was happening. And just amazing, these kids, these young kids. Yes, there's some horrible bullies, but there's some real gems of human beings there. And her best friend is a real gem, amazing young woman. So, but anyhow, please help us share that out. I'll try to get that out, that poster, as well as others out for anyone who might be in the area. So, But I did want to say thanks. We are back. I will be back on Monday. Sometime I will upload a bunch of videos. I need to sit down and edit. Oh, I'm getting ready to do. Yeah, this one hasn't left my side basically since getting home. Yes, you're happy mommy's home, aren't you? Yeah, we watch them I have a Furbo that I had. They slept on that bed the whole time I was gone. So I would watch them every day. Yes, I did. And also, but I want to share the trip with you guys at some time. I just got to upload everything. But let me know if there's any cases you guys have been watching because I'm kind of trying to re-catch up, and it's kind of weird because I always kind of was right on, okay, this is what's going on, and now I'm having to catch myself up. So if there's any cases you guys have really been looking into and would like to start following, let me know. Please feel free to email me, thelokomilife@gmail.com. Kimberly is saying, oh, wait, here we go. That was irresponsible, the school lead, and that's the problem when your own school leadership does not stand up. And actually, Aubrey's mom was a teacher also there. And that's why it's so frustrating, I think, for so many in the community because there's been no responsibility taken for anything. And okay, Michelle, that's a good. When I was in Europe, this was one of the things that kept coming to me. I often cover American cases and I forget about the rest of the world. Um, Interesting. I'd been wondering how many people would be interested in some of the bigger cases or even smaller case interesting but smaller cases um that are happening in other countries because there's some cases I've been following. I kind of start on Web Sleuth and then I kind of run off on my own looking at it. Who is it? Luan Pena, 5 year. Ooh, okay. Let me take a picture of that one. I'm gonna take a look at that one, Michelle. Let me take a look at that one. And yeah, because I'd wondered a lot of times I kind of followed with American ones because most people here are from America. Sometimes I'll throw Australia or England in because I also speak to a lot of people. But you know what? Especially in a case of trafficking like that, someone who's been trafficked can be anywhere right now. They really could. So thank you, Michelle. I'll take a look at that one for sure. For sure. So anyhow, I'm gonna go take care of mom. Mom is still fighting. Like you guys know, I both of us came down with COVID. I'm kind of about 90% back to my normal. She's only about 60%. 50 days, Michelle? Wait. I need to go check that one. I need to check that one. I may have seen a little bit about that case one night. Not in depth, but I think I may know which one you're talking. I don't want to say for sure, but I think it sounds familiar. Yeah, maybe. I'll be taking a look at that one. And at 5 years, that's a nightmare right there. And that was my fear with Seraya for so long. I always said, I mean, look at Aaron, Nadia, and Seraya in Mexico. It was such a danger for all three of them. And so anyhow, I'm gonna go take care of mom, make her some soup for dinner, and then I am going to I'll do some research. But for any of you guys, I don't know if we have any World of Warcraft fans here. I play World of Warcraft. We have the next expansion coming out in a couple weeks, which means I'm going to have fun playing a game for a while. I haven't played WoW in literally probably 4 or 5 months. But with a new expansion pack coming out, guess who will be? So if you're a WoW player, let me know because I got to get you on my friends list. So anyhow, thank you. No, thank you. Actually, thank you for bringing that one up, Michelle. So anyhow, I will talk to y'all later. Kimberly, thanks for talking with me in chat, especially when I didn't have any ability to hear what was being said on that. I kind of felt weird. I'm trying to follow lip syncing, okay, yeah, not good. Aw, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have to say, I had never had COVID. This was my first time, and I was so scared of getting it. And luckily, it was very mild for me. You used to play WoW, Kathleen. What did you play? I main a shaman, an elemental shaman is, but I have one of every single character pretty much out there. I've been playing forever, but since I kind of created this channel, I kind of haven't played. Yeah. So, but yeah, This last one, Dragonfly, has been good, but I don't know. We've got the new expansion packs look interesting. What is it, Cassie? You want mommy's attention? You want my attention? Yeah. You want to say hi to everyone? No, you just want to kiss mommy. You're worried mommy's going to leave you. What is a hunter? Beast Mastery? And I do have be a hunter. And I can't do marksman or anything like that, but I like my Beast Mastery. That one's fun. That one's a lot of fun. And Night Elf, nice. My elemental shaman is a Draenei, however they pronounce it. It's fun. Okay, you got the WoW nerds popping up. Okay, this is exactly what happens every time I bring up WoW. There's usually one other person in here, and we get totally going off. And also, anyhow, I'm gonna go deal with mom and all, but I will see you guys on Monday, and hopefully I can start uploading some videos for you guys. Some of them are going to be for members again because I felt horrible for the members that I've been promising to do those videos for, and then I couldn't upload them. So I still owe you guys some members only videos. And all, because yeah, you guys are always there for me. But I'll also be doing some for everyone too. So anyhow, aloha, mahalo, and we will see you later. Bye bye. Thank you.